All right, then we are live. You would
What's
have
up,
seen our
chat?
faces for a second. We were testing our mic after going live for whatever reason. But here we are. What's up, Shrikant? What's up, Judge? It's a very exciting day. India finally plays a game which we can cover. India plays South Africa in the third World Cup game.
Hopefully they play, given
Yeah, that's
the
true.
conditions. But yeah, third game, India versus South Africa. India have started off well. India are on a roll. The World Cup is shaping up nicely. We've had some interesting games. If you haven't been following some of the other games,
Yeah, that's true.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yesterday, Australia, Pakistan,
Yeah, what a
crazy
game.
game.
Aussies were 80 for 7 or something. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
And in the first game, they were 120 for 5 and
Yeah.
6. Yet, Australia won. And so, ah.
Exactly.
It's the one team that, of course, we need to really fear. But today we have a game against South Africa, a game, a team that's had two up and downs, which we'll
Yeah.
get into. We'll
Yeah.
get into a lot of things. Hello, Starlight Ocean playing 11 for. Arey, sir. Let's
Hey.
stick to Women's
Yeah.
World Cup that's happening right now for a bit. I've seen this before in the Men's World Cup as well. Yeah, that's true. The Australian side, regardless of who they play, where they
They
play,
just find a way.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so we have 12 minutes before the toss, and then we have 30 because apparently it is raining there right now. But we will go through a lot of things. We'll go over the Indian team in this World Cup, the South African team in this World Cup, how they have done together, pitch and conditions, statistics,
X Factor,
X
whatever
factor
it is.
players.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about potential playing 11s, then the playing 11s. So on. If India are in the same position as Australia today, who do you think is that player to see us through? Deepti Sharma is what I'll say. All right, then. We'll start off. All right, let's start off. So India in the first two games, I'm not going to talk about India this year because we've already covered that. India have won a lot of matches except against Australia. We have lost two matches against Australia this year, one against Sri Lanka and one against England. The only series that we have lost this year is against Australia. Right. We have Smriti Mandhana, the highest scorer for the Indian team, and Pratik Rawal close, not close second, but second. And the bowlers have also done well. Sneh Rana being the highest wicket taker. All of that we have already talked about this. We will continue talking about this. But in this World Cup, it's been a mixed bag so far. Smriti hasn't performed at all. Do we have a numbers? We do have a numbers. Smriti with the bat, wow, most runs. There's no Smriti with the bat. That's how bad she's performed. But in the two matches, we have Harleen Diol being the highest run scorer with the bat. She has an average of 47, a strike rate of 72. Again, she's one of those batters who, in the two matches, she has no 50s, yet her average is 47. We've also made a reel on this today. It will be very important for her to just get going, right? Two matches, average of 47, batting at number three. You would think she either has a very high 50 or 100, yet she has no 50s or 100, and with a strike rate of 72. Now, a lot of people might say that she has a low strike rate because of the position the team finds themselves in. The middle order just collapses and she has no reason to up the strike rate. But if you look at other teams, especially England and Australia, what sets them apart is the fact that even when they're under pressure, the batter who is settled is able to rotate strike freely, and that is something she's really struggled with. In the this year, between the overs 10 and 20, she has a strike rate of 58, especially when the field is spread out. To have a strike rate of just 58 is horrible to say the least. All right. Apart from Harleen Deol, Deepti Sharma, of course, is the second highest run scorer. She has a strike rate of 90, average of 39. She is potentially one of the reasons for why we won against Sri Lanka. I was going to say Bangladesh because she was able to get that score. Even in the second game, she got a partnership going. Hopefully, the Indian team is not as reliant as they were in the first two games because you would hope for the top three to perform. And then you have Pratika Raval, who averages 34, has again no 50s under her name with a strike rate of 70. She has been a disappointment in the sense of a strike rate. She hasn't been able to rotate strike freely. The only time she almost seems like she's getting any runs is boundaries. And coming into this World Cup, it wasn't that she was able to strike big. So you would hope she strikes around between 80 and 100. But yeah, that's us with the bat. Our top order hasn't performed. Our middle order has collapsed. You would hope for a better performance than them this year. Interestingly, in the last 5 games that India have played South Africa, Smriti has 200s and 250s. She has an average of she has an average of we don't yeah she has an average of 86 against South Africa in the last 5 games. The last time India played at Vizag was in 2014, and Smriti has 50 in this very ground. Of course, this was 9 years ago, but she does. And even Jemima Rodriguez, She has an average of 66 with 100 against South Africa in the last 5 games they've played. Harmanpreet Kaur has an average of 74. She has 100 in the last 5 games. So for a top order that's not really performing, it almost seems like the very opponent that they want to play and in the very ground because of the performances that they have had in the last 5 games. In fact, in the last 5 games, India hasn't lost against South Africa. So you would just think coming into this match that India already have the upper hand because of the performances that they have had against this very team and the players that have been able to perform. Something I also do want to emphasize on is one of the reasons for why the Indian top order hasn't really performed against Sri Lanka or Pakistan is because of the opponents they're playing against and the ground. They're not as quick as the South Africans or the Australians, and not the quickest of not the quickest of pitches. And our batters like Pratika Rawal and Smriti Mandhana really like pace on the bat. And if they don't have that, we've seen them continue to struggle, and that's exactly what happened in the first 2 games. And with the ball, of course, Deepti Sharma is the highest wicket taker. Against South Africa in the last 5 games, she's picked up 9 wickets with an average of 21. The other off spinner, Sneh Rana, she has picked up wickets with an average of 19. So all of our players have predominantly done well against South Africa. Also, why we have won last 5 out of 5. So it seems like a good hunting ground, a good hunting team, in fact. Deepti Sharma, of course, in this World Cup is the highest wicket taker for the Indian team, picking up 6 wickets with an average of 16, economy of 5.2. Similar names, you would just hope that with all of these numbers, the Indian team can just come good against South Africa. That's just me. Hey, Ishan, how did I become a member? Lovely. Let's go to South Africa and let's talk about how they have done so far.
Ishan, so you were very likely gifted the membership. I think last time around when Shrikant was just handing out memberships. Shrikant, if you want to do it again, just kidding. But whoever's just joining in, hit like. We're going to be here for some time. Go away for the toss, all of that. Ashwin's covered India. So if you haven't seen that bit, you can go back, see India. And I'll be covering South Africa. Now, South Africa have had a very interesting start to their World Cup. The first match was an absolute blip, dismissed for just 69 all out. And from there to come back in the next game, the way they bounced back and were able to eventually defeat New Zealand in that game was a dominant performance through and through, albeit there are some chinks which we will get into. But something to keep in mind is that South Africa in their last 5 games against India, as Ashwin also pointed out, have not won. So psychologically speaking, there is that barrier that they would like to cross. Also, just how they started off in this tournament, one horrible performance, one really dominant performance. So with South Africa, you wonder which lineup is going to turn up today. Are they the ones who are going to be able to put the foot on the pedal and take on India, or they're just going to crumble over? So that's something that we'll have to wait and find out. But on a batting front, I think there's also conversation going on in the chat about the very batting ability of South Africa, especially Tazmin Brits, who in her last 5 ODI innings has got 4 centuries. Let that sink in. She's also the fastest to 7 ODI centuries. She's taken just 41 innings. And here's someone who, for the first 20 matches of ODI cricket she played, she only had 150, and that too, it came in her 20th or 21st game. So that's one player you definitely have to watch out for with the bat. She also happens to be the highest scorer so far in the World Cup for them because obviously she got that century against New Zealand. But apart from that, S. Lewis is also someone to watch out for. I hope I'm pronouncing her name correct because she's someone who not only doubles up as who not only is a really good bowler but is also a really good batter at the top of the order. She finished with 83 not out in the game versus New Zealand, and Brits and Lewis had a really good partnership, were able to just steer the game along and ensure that South Africa was able to solidly take that game home. Now, apart from that, someone who you have to watch out for, who India especially needs to watch out for, is their captain Laura Boulevard. She, in the 5 games that she's played, we also have a stat on this, averages 81 against India. So India is a team, the Indian bowlers are the bowlers that she favors to take down, and she hasn't particularly taken off in this tournament yet. So this could be the game for her, and Indians need to be careful of that. Now, on the bowling front, it's it's an interesting one, right? So South Africa start off really strong with the likes of Marizan Kaap at the top of the bowling innings, and she's miles above the rest of the South African bowling lineup. There's no two ways about that. In the middle is where they tend to struggle a little bit. They have 3 spinners and just the one medium pace option that they use. But in these 3 spinners, it's also something we'll come to in matchups. M Laba, I think that's Blaba. That's her name. She's the left arm spinner. She is someone to watch out for. She's been their highest wicket taker through 2025, but also in the World Cup, where she's now got 4 wickets. It was a 4 that she took against New Zealand. But along with that, someone to also watch out for is Chloe Tryon. I think that's her name. Oh, we have a Akshay Krishnan.
Finally, look at you go,
Welcome
buddy.
to the Night Watchers. Nice. Lads, can we hit like for Akshay becoming a member? This has been this has been in the making for so long. We've just been waiting for this moment. What? True, my boy. Akshay, the members in the house. Yeah, that's right. W Akshay. Yeah, can we have W Akshay in the chat while I ramble on about South Africa's bowling? But yeah, uh, it's mostly these spinners for South Africa in the middle that will determine the game because they've been lackluster on and off. Apart from Mlaba, no other South African spinner has really looked very good. And it's the middle overs where they kind of struggle, especially because Marizan Kaap at top just always tends to give them a really good start. So that's something that South Africa will be a little wary of, is how they're able to come out as a bowling unit in the middle overs. But apart from that, yeah, I think that's mostly it. And from here, we'll get into X Factor players to watch out for both India and South Africa.
All right, the X Factor players to watch out for today. I'm gonna say, hello. Can you hear me, lad? Oh, you
Uh,
can hear me. All right, so the X Factor players that I'm going to call out for today is Pratika Rawal, the opener. I think she's going to stand out. I don't think she's had a standout performance in the last couple of innings, especially the series against Australia, the series against England, and even starting off this World Cup. So I think she will be the one to step up. It's a very random call because not a lot of people would think of her as the X Factor, but I say this because I feel like she will want to perform, especially in the third match of the World Cup against South Africa. And the second player that I think will be someone to watch out for today is Sneh Rana. I think she hasn't been in terms of she hasn't picked up a lot of wickets. To be fair, she might just be dropped today. But but if she does play, I think she will be another X factor. Not just with the bat. She is someone who can stick around, but I think especially with the ball, this is a very random call. Of course, there are actual X factors in this team, like Richa Ghosh, who was able to accelerate in the end against Pakistan. Jemima Rodriguez, Deepthi Sharma. It will be interesting. We'll come to the squad analysis in a bit. But yeah, I feel like Pratika Rawal, for whatever reason, I have this feeling that she is the one going to step up. And this might just brutally come down and I might just be digging a grave for myself. But here we are.
All right, for South Africa, obviously there are some very well-known names like a Laura Woolward or a Marizan Kaap who will more or less stand out because of their experience and just the quality and pedigree they bring. But as an X factor, I think I'd like to call out possibly Chloe Tryon, I think that's her name. Yeah, who's a left arm spinner. Also bats slow down the order. And even in the tri series, she did play some handy knocks against India. So that's something to keep in mind, especially when we know that there is a little bit of discomfort with India in the death overs when it comes to the bowling front. Tryon could be an interesting pick there in terms of someone who could step the game up for South Africa. But apart from that, also De Klerk, she bowls medium pace. And she's been in really good form recently. Ashwin's trying to, I don't know, get into my frame. But yeah, these are the two players I think who are going to be X factors. That is something to watch out for.
The last time India played South Africa. Now we should be here.
Awesome.
We weren't muted. Yeah, it is tradition, but we weren't muted this time. It's just that the mics weren't there, so now you can see mics. I just had to copy and paste. All right, something I was saying that I know Akshay, you were sad about your Sharma going off for a week. Uh, what was I saying? Oh yeah, but this Saturday for our members only video, just a bit of teaser before we talk about the probable 11 is that also because the toss is delayed. By the way, the toss is
Mm.
supposed to be happening at 2:30, but it's delayed because of rain. But the covers are coming off. It's sun shining. We will have an inspection at 2:45, which is about 15 minutes, and then they'll decide when the toss is. But right, a teaser before we talk about the probable 11 is that this Saturday we have someone, a ghost analyst, who was a pretty big member, and the reason for why We went on to win the 2024 T20 World Cup.
True.
A behind the scenes boy, and he was part of a lot of things, a lot of strategies, a lot of numbers, and a lot of reasons for why certain players play the way they did. And we have him on our podcast, which will be coming out this Saturday as members
Members
only.
only.
It
So
will be
yeah,
differently produced. It's not,
yeah, true.
yeah, it might be, it's something that we're trying out.
And it's an incentive for you to join in because it was a pretty good conversation,
Yeah.
especially if you're someone who really enjoys or works around or plays around with cricket data. If you're someone who just likes these anecdotal bits,
Yeah.
it's something you'll really like.
Right. All right. Ashwin is right, lad. What is right? But right. So let's talk about Problem 11. Rohan, I think he's gone away, of course, because we were muted. He asked if Amanjot Kaur will play. It will be interesting to see
Yeah,
if he does.
I mean, reports say that she is
Fit.
ready to play.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting.
Yeah,
Watch out
because
for.
of the conditions, I won't be surprised if they drop a spinner. But I don't. The Indian team is so reluctant with that, especially because of the kind of pitches we've had till now. We haven't played in Vizag yet, but in Guwahati or even in Indore, the pitch just continues to turn, assist spinners in some form. But because of the conditions, do you think that we would go with that extra fast bowler? I say extra.
Highly doubt because again we'll actually come to it in pitch and conditions. There is a little bit of a characteristic for Vizag.
We can get into the pitching conditions
All right.
because it's after
Oh
the
yeah,
toss.
there is no.
So we can talk about it now.
Cool. So it's very similar in some sense to the all the stadiums that we're playing in. To be honest, Colombo, Guwahati, and that's also a lot to do with just the weather conditions. The pitch is expected to be kind of sluggy to begin with. It'll be a little easy for the batters because the new ball comes on. But after that, expect the same characteristics where it slows down. There's a bit of turn. How much of a factor will rain be? That's also something that will come into the picture. There are showers expected through the day. There was a downpour just before sunshine has come out now.
Yeah.
So, how much does that affect the pitch? That is something that we will have to look at.
And how much moisture will be retained in the
Exactly.
pitch? Is that
Exactly.
something you said?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry. But yeah, that so all that will be interesting. I don't think the top 6 changes. It'd be a bit unfair to drop Harleen Deol or to move her from the batting
Especially when she's
position.
the highest scorer
Yeah,
so
yeah,
far.
especially because she
Yeah.
might be the only one performing in this World Cup. In this World Cup, is this the first match going to happen in Vizag? Not just the first match in Vizag. It's going to be the first match in Vizag for women's cricket after 9 years.
2014.
11 years. In fact, interestingly, India have won all matches at the Indian women's team have won all matches taken place at Vizag. They've only played 5 matches up until now, starting from 2010 to 2014, and we have won all 5. Last 5 matches we've played against South Africa, we have won all 5. Law of averages suggests we're going to lose this one.
Let's hope not.
It's just BCCI, even CA. Oh, right, you're talking about Ashwin saying that the franchise league might take over international cricket. Yeah, people have been saying that for a while. Even if it does happen, it'll take a long time anyway.
We'll see.
Yeah. But yeah, the only thing, so the top 6 remains the same with Harleen Deol, the highest run score. I don't think she'll be moved around. Jemima needs to get some runs in. Harmanpreet, the top order, needs some runs in. But even Jemima, like, she looked positive in the last game against Pakistan, but she was caught behind to a no ball. She almost got run. The running between wickets with these players, I don't know what is up.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting? The day before the match, apparently Smriti and Pratika Raval had a whole running session with the coach.
Yeah.
But I don't know how that works. There's no pressure. There's
True. I mean,
really
it's
happening.
nowhere close to being able to simulate what happens in a match, but it's probably just running and practicing
true.
it out. Yeah.
The kind of pitches in Vizag will be interesting. The IPL had a couple of matches in Vizag last year.
Although I would not use that as
that's true.
comparison because.
But yeah, there's nothing really to compare it with because Indore had a lot of cricket matches going on. That's where you already knew it was a batting track. It was going to be a flat track, and that's what we got. And Vizag, until now, in all women's games and women's ODI, we haven't touched 300, but that was also 11 years ago. A lot's changed in women's cricket. If you were to look at IPL scores, I don't know if it's high or not. We could potentially look at that as a comparison. But we'll see today because a lot of these pitches are also different. Like, I didn't think Guwahati was going to be that slow per se and get a lot of spin, but that's what we got.
Exactly. Yeah.
Boys, today, law of average is going to meet its opponents. Nice average by match being abandoned due to rain. Please don't say it out loud. Too late for that. But
my guy Srikanth. Nice.
But that's that. We'll get into a couple of stats because the stats are a bit interesting.
Hello. Yeah, you should be able to hear me now. You've probably read the stats already because of us not being there, but yeah. Tazmin Brits with 400s in her last 5 innings. That is something to watch out for. Harmanpreet Kaur is now 84 runs away from 1000 runs in ODI World Cups. Let's hope that she gets all 84 runs this very day. Mithali Raj is the only other Indian player with a tally of over 1000 runs. Marizan Kapp is 4 wickets away from equaling Shabnam Ismail's 36 wickets in a World Cup, which is the most for any South African. So again, something that could happen on this very day. And the last one is something I spoke about is Captain Laura Woolward's average of 81 in the last 4 innings versus India.
All right, so that's that. That's with the stats. There's still a lot to look forward to. We have the toss. Do we have any news on the toss? Both India and South Africa are coming off. Arre, the inspection is only 50 minutes away. I don't know if you're gonna wait for the toss.
Yeah, it's okay. You all can go. Chill. Just have a good time.
Yeah, because we don't know when the toss will happen. Smriti is due a big score today. Yes, Smriti is due
That
a
is
big
true. Yeah.
In the last 5 games, she has 200s and 250s against
250s.
South Africa. So, if anything, this is the team she wants to play.
If anything, both from South Africa's perspective and from India's, this is a crucial game for many reasons.
Yeah.
Because if India win this game, it's a great start to whatever's to come because they have some tough games. This is one game that they will fancy locking down, especially having won 2 games.
True.
And it's the opposite for South Africa. They would like to not lose this game. I mean, that's true with every game in the World Cup. But after their initial blip against England, yeah.
Do you think Amanjot Kaur will make a comeback in today's match? Says asks Amit Singh. I don't know. It depends on the kind of balance they're going with. How do you drop Renuka Singh after her performance? It wasn't a blockbuster performance, but it was a
True.
good start off with the new ball. Both Kranti Gowda and Amanjot Kaur got a lot of swing against the Pakistani batters, and they just locked them in. They just didn't get away. And it was much better than Australia's performance. I mean, Australia did get a couple of wickets yesterday, but in terms of line and length, I thought India were more consistent in that aspect against Pakistan. So how do you drop someone like a Renuka Singh Thakur? India can take that call. If they take that call, it's a very, very brave call because one match Amanjot Kaur got in the first game. She did perform with the bat and the ball. So it will be interesting.
Yeah, it goes down to their confidence in the department, right?
Yeah.
Knowing that their top batters or the top order batters rather haven't been scoring much, do they want to go with that extra batting cushion that Amanjot will definitely provide?
Yeah, that's true. So that is what will be interesting. If it happens, 5 membership giveaway by me.
Whoa. Oh,
If
if
Smriti
Smriti
scores
scores
a
a 200.
All right. This is it for now because we're still a long way to go from the toss. We just wanted to do talk about a couple of things, talk about a couple of records. We will come back post match after the match ends. We'll see a lot of you guys there. Hopefully, Richa will score the fastest 50 today. 19 balls as Judge. Dude, Judge, if your
Let's hope.
prediction comes right, I'll go bald. I'll make a whole video.
Provided we get 100 members.
No, leave that. If Richa scores 15, 90 balls.
Oh, in 19 balls. Okay.
19, yeah. I will go bald. Right.
We'll
if you
see.
have to pick a batter to score double century and a bowler to take a hat trick, who do you put your money on? And this team, yeah,
Ooh.
Smriti.
For a double century?
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Yes. Actually, even Harman, I think if she
Probably.
gets into like a deep inning, she can. Hat trick, I want to say Kranti Gaud. Seems like the person who can get a hat trick.
Yeah, or I'll also say Deepti Shah.
Possibly.
I could feel like she could have it. All right. So, right. This is it then. This is it from us. We will see you post match after the match. That is
like-
post match. And then talk about the match against South Africa, which hopefully happens and finishes, and we have the entire 50 overs. All right, then. Akshay says, please, Richa. Dude, I will go bald. If Richa goes
Damn.
hits a 50 in 19 deliveries, I'll do anything. I'll go bald, shave my face, no hair on my face. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you guys post match. Peace.